player knowledge is going to be a bit limited in this bracket. I'll obviously know a bit more about the standout names, but I'm just going to be relying on my character knowledge. Hopefully that is good enough. It's very uncommon for me to see a Shovel Knight this high in bracket. You do not see that in Europe. But regardless, we are starting with Ethereal Gates. As Alki just putting in a bit of percent. Obviously, the Starfish is going to be a great start for any SK there.
And honestly, actually getting a lot from that kind of like bait with the fish right there. Elki's going for a kill and suddenly taking a lot of percentage for it.
Yeah, of course. And Elki just a very nice parry on that side B, but isn't going to be able to find much of it as Rift just keeps going and going.
Nice parry on up special as well. Suddenly, a first strong lead that Rift had on elkiies is suddenly being very quickly evened up by elkiies right here.
Yeah, and only time will tell how long this evened out situation will last. But by the looks of it, Rift is trying to close it out now with just nothing but up airs, but obviously that would be a very good move at just getting rid of any pressure.
And very good DI avoiding that stealth right there. And also Rift being very good at getting a lot of money so that he can hopefully buy stuff on this kill, going with the momentum mail and for a fish.
Yeah. Of course, momentum mail, basically the best choice to go for when it comes to the armors. Dynamo mail does have its niches, but that down strong would have killed a lot earlier if he did not have momentum mail.
And especially when you're fighting against Claren, who doesn't have much that you can dare on top of, I feel like momentum mail is probably the best choice, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a very safe choice regardless of matchup. Obviously, some matchups will call for Dynamo Mail, whether they're projectile heavy or slow enough to just get a bunch of down airs on. But still out keeping hold of that that second stock even. And no matter how much Rift puts in, it's just not going down without a fight.
And both players just playing very carefully here, trying to hold on to their stocks. I feel like Rift is especially trying to make sure that he can get the kill first, so that you can finally get some artifact, which would be very helpful in this.
Of course, the guilty gear itself. Don't know how prevalent that joke is in NA, but regardless, yeah, Rift onto their last stock of game 1. We'll just have to see if they can even it out. I mean, elkiies is at a very high percent, and that's, I mean, come on, sometimes you just gotta throw out a forward strong, it just works.
And switching to Ghost Clubs, avoiding the gear, I'm guessing likely because of Field just being a threat with gear at the moment.
Yeah, gear is a slow projectile, a lot of startup on its actual movement, whereas Ghost Clubs are very fast and not as easy to react to. Obviously, we know about how good it is at comboing into stuff like forward tilt and jab. And Rift showing us that, taking elkiies off stage, but they just find their way back on so quickly.
The percents are looking very even here. A well-placed strong could actually end this and get a kill for Rift here. Thankfully, having the higher armor to survive a little longer, but elkiies is just not letting Rift in.
Yeah, very good down B there, just narrowly getting off with that jab. But the rock isn't going to do anything, but that forward strong is going to close off game 1 for Rift. So,
extremely close though.
Yeah, that is very much a close game we just had. But by the looks of it, elkiies going with a bit of a character switch here in a moment.
Maybe feeling a little too uncomfortable with how close that game one was.
Yeah, and again, not too familiar with player knowledge, so I'm not sure which of the characters elkiie mains, but we'll just have to see.
Elkies generally likes to stick with like Crag and Maypul for the most part, where we don't see a lot of Claren.
Right.
And Elkies has switched a few times this bracket so far to Crag to a lot of very good effect and being able to close out sets because of it.
Now, Crag is one of those matchups where Dynamo Mail isn't out of the options because of Rock, because of how slow Crag can be when in disadvantage. But regardless of any of that, Merchant Port very close in percents right now. That forward air could have spelt something dangerous for for Rift even. But regardless, Rift just makes their way back into the situation, but obviously Crag very powerful.
And a well-placed pair with not perfect EI is going to be exactly what elkies needs to close out that first stock. Suddenly, Rift does not have a lot of money and is a full stock down.
See, that challenge on the fish could have been the end of the stock if they were still Claren situationally, but obviously Crag Pillar, it is pretty darn possible to bring it back from basically anywhere.
And Elkie is just being really oppressive on not letting Rift start any sort of combo to just get this percentage off, and just constantly getting reversals with these various nairs and bears.
Yeah, I mean, back air, one of the best moves in Shovel Knight's arsenal. I know from a very personal standpoint, but that aside, it is evened out stock-wise. It's up to Rift to even it out in percent as well, but it's not looking too easy. A very, very nice call out with that upstrong from elkiies.
And Elkie's just really aggressively using this boulder to just really limit Rift's movement and just get tons of percent really quickly.
Yeah, of course. And just really going to town on the buttons, on anything she can throw out, and it is working. Sometimes the best strategy is just pressing buttons or holding one button for just long enough, like we saw with Rift.
Rift able to finally get a stock, but this is a lot of percent to try to climb back from against the Crag. Although I'm seeing some adaptation that I think is hopefully Rift can hold on to and maybe even close out the stock. Never mind.
I mean, hey, sometimes you just gotta throw out 3 upstrongs. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Just keep trying. Surely it'll work. I mean, that mindset clearly goes places as elkiies closes out game 2 with their Crag, and we are taking 2 treetop lodge.
I think that counterpicking to Crag was looks like to be a very strong choice by elkies, making that game in Merchant Port feel a lot more one-sided. Although a big part of why that was such a good choice was the platforms elkies was really using to great effect to really make movement for SK very difficult. In this stage that has a more open center, kind of. I mean, it depends on what you want to call an open center. Can maybe give Rift the extra movement needed to not feel as trapped in.
Problem with SK, their movement can be quite lateral. I mean, they have a very, very vertical recovery with up air, with up B, and obviously side B very horizontal. Not much space for mixing the two. So a stage like this can really be a deficit here for Rift. Beautiful tech from Rift, but the upstrong, clearly we are seeing Crag masterwork here. And that isn't any shade, that just
No,
is a
it's real.
strategy sometimes, that's just real.
It's the sort of thing where, I mean, as a Sylph main, Crag destroys my brain constantly. But there's a difference between fighting a Crag that just throws rock at you, and one that can just control your movement and beat the shit out of you, which is what elkiies is doing right here. Finally able to get a kill here for Rift, but still not enough money to get an artifact.
Very nice attack on that down B spike there. They're just trying to find any situation to put themselves into a bit of pressure on elkiies, and for the most part it is starting to work. But that high percentage against Crag is very scary for any character.
Especially when you don't have a lot of stage to run to, and these strong attacks are a lot more close to you. Still though, this counter pick looks like it's working out in Rift's favor with a much more even game.
Yeah, it was. Now, we could be seeing a game 5 from the looks of it. But, again, as I said earlier, only time will tell. Tries for the down strong there, but Rift turns it around with a very strong up air. elkiies now on the last stock.
Rift now just very carefully trying to space and get as much extra credit as possible, but this edge guard, very good dodge of that up strong there just by jumping.
Yeah, even with that stock lead, the percentage Rift is at pretty much makes it even until they stop throwing out all these long hitting moves and just keep piling on the percentage.
And Elkie is really struggling to deal with this gear that's just constantly pushing her back and getting more and more percent on her. Finally able to get a stock on Rift, but this is a Crag at 100% versus an SK at none. Looking very much more in Rift's favor.
Rift going for a little cheeky down B. I mean, we're all guilty of it. It's too good of an opportunity to pass up in any given situation.
Well, and a few of these anchors have really slowed down some of Elki's advances, but that parry suddenly getting quite a bit damaged just because Crag can just do that off of any kind of parry punish.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Elki's slowly but surely evening this game out. Okay. Both players just looking for one good strong hit.
Really just trying to space each other out with both gear and rock respectively. And that F strong is so big, it is able to hit elkiies from off stage, completely untechable.
Yeah, that is definitely gonna do it for game 3.
Already a lead on Rift, fighting one of the top seeded players for this bracket. And we will be seeing elkiies now character switching again, this time to Maypul.
Yeah, only wait to see what this does for the situation. Maybe this is what elkiies needs to bring it to a game 5. But at the moment, we've just got to see her bring back the momentum. And she does it explosively. Yeah, Maypul very good at doing that. Just any stray up air can lead into devastation. And we're seeing it again in the reverse.
I wonder if elkiies was getting frustrated with sort of not having the speed to sort of maneuver around SK with momentum mail, and thus went for Maypul to just finally have that little extra boost of movement to be able to sort of get in and suddenly start her combos.
Problem is, with SK, it's... your counter pick will only deal with a portion of their kit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Crag will deal with the momentum nail, with all those strong hits. but they are going to struggle with the projectiles and getting in against the momentum mail speed. But Maypul can match the speed and dance around those projectiles. But at the same time, Wolves...
Wow!
Cut me off, elkiies, that's fine. But again, Maypul will seemingly start to struggle with all these multi-hits, with just these large shovel...
But just absolutely destroying despite all that with a very strong 3-stock.
Yeah, I mean... This is what I get for stepping out of my region. I say something, get cut off by an awesome play. We are moving to game 5 now.
Incredibly
Same characters.
Incredibly explosive win from elkiies there. Honestly, maybe Rift is just not able to adapt quickly enough to all these character changes.
Yeah. I mean, I have seen this matchup a couple times in high-level EU, whether it be Retro on SK or Orcanon on Maypul. It is always so fun when a matchup like this gets onto a higher seed. What I'm really looking forward to here tonight is seeing how different things are going to be compared to my own scene, as we see elkiies already take that first stock from Rift Knight, seemingly very much getting momentum back, but at the same time, I mean, it's in the name. Rift has the momentum now. Beautiful techs from elkiies there, but there is no teching that down strong.
Crazy move. Absolutely crazy move.
Pressing buttons is so fun as SK.
This is looking a lot more even than the Merchant Port game that just happened, but still very strong for elkiies, getting another kill right here. Just Rift not feeling comfortable anywhere or at any percent.
Yeah, elkiies definitely playing around Rift's earlier game plans against the likes of Claren and Crag. And by the looks of it, Rift is struggling to adapt to this smaller, faster character. This is looking bad for Rift right now, because elkiies is just going all over the place. Just honestly being a little scary right now.
Getting the most out of this advantage state, but getting reversal by that up special.
Ducks to miss any sort of conversion off of the side B. And just an up B is going to do it for elkiies.
When you have a full stock to work with, might as well just start throwing out all these strong attacks when SK is so high up in percent.